Guys, good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. For those of you who have never caught me live before, my name is Jewel and I am a grateful recovering addict. I'm going to celebrate 9 years clean this August. Gonna go live with my brother-in-law Joe. Let me just invite a couple people and then we'll get started. I'm gonna read the gist for today and then we'll go from there. Hey,
What's up?
I'm so sick of this school, man. They're driving me crazy. What is today's date? Hey, Danielle.
24th?
Want me to start with the gist for today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okie dokie. So I'm going to get started. Did you share this out?
Yeah, I'll share it.
Okay. April 24th, the 12 steps of life. Through abstinence and through working the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, our lives have become useful. Basic text, page 8. Before coming to Narcotics Anonymous, our lives were centered around using. For the most part, we had very little energy left over for jobs, relationships, or other activities. We served only our addiction. The 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous provide a simple way to turn our lives around. We start by staying clean a day at a time. When our energy is no longer channeled into our addiction, we find that we have energy to pursue other interests. As we grow in recovery, we become able to sustain healthy relationships. We become trustworthy employees. Hobbies and recreation seem more inviting. Through participation in Narcotics Anonymous, we help others. Narcotics Anonymous does not promise us that we will find good jobs, loving relationships, or a fulfilling life. But when we work the 12 steps to the best of our ability, we find that we can become the type of people who are capable of finding employment, sustaining loving relationships, and helping others. We stop serving our disease and begin serving God and others. The 12 steps are the key to transforming our lives. Just for today, I will have the wisdom to use the 12 steps in my life and the courage to grow in my recovery. I will practice my program to become a responsible, productive member of society.
You want to read that punchline for me?
I was going to say, I will have the wisdom to use the 12 steps in my life and the courage to grow in my recovery. I will practice my program to become a responsible, productive member of society.
Good one. Pretty good one.
Tomorrow's going to be good too. Tomorrow's embracing reality.
We can save that for whenever we go again.
Yeah. Hey, Stephanie, how are you?
What's up, Stephanie?
Bear with me, guys. I'm having a hard time. When you comment, I'm having a hard time seeing it.
You want me to do this first? Let me go first.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, with the 12 steps and using it in your life, basically, anybody that's read the 12 steps or they've worked through it or have any experience or knowledge of it, you know that basically the 12 steps is about pretty much life after you get sober or you get clean.
Yeah.
I never did the 12 steps until we started doing these videos, and then I worked through them for the purpose of the videos. And
Yeah.
I was real pleased in what I found because um, coming up in the meetings, I kind of got a, you know, preconceived notion about what the 12 steps were about, and I was absolutely wrong. Um, so once I actually read them and worked through them for the purpose of these videos, I realized that I really enjoyed it. I really liked the fact that it didn't it didn't spend so much time investing in being clean and getting sober. It was more so about um, working working on building your life after you recover or after you get clean or get sober. And I really like
Right.
that because a lot of people get frozen in the just getting clean or sober part. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
clean, they get sober, but they don't really improve their lives. They don't really work on themselves as an individual because
Right.
once you go through addiction and you go through drug use and alcohol use, you change. You become someone else. You're not the same person that you were before you started. Um, and when you get clean and you get sober, I feel like you have to try to get back to that person and regain some of who you were supposed to be before you went down that wrong pathway, or just become somebody completely new. And like I said, a lot of us get frozen in just getting sober and getting clean, and we never really take that next step. There's people
Right.
who spend years and years and years in meetings, but they still have a lot of the same struggles. They just don't use drugs and alcohol, and it's because they never worked on improving themselves
Right.
as a person. It's deeper than that. If you
Yeah.
never use drugs and alcohol, as you go down life, you're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to grow. You're supposed to improve. And so when you get clean and sober, those same expectations should be held for you when you get clean and sober. Obviously, you got to work on that first part first. It's most important. But once you get clean and get sober and you get a little comfortable, you got to start working through, the tools and the 12 steps, because I feel like it teaches you how to really do it. You know what I'm saying? Getting sober and
Yeah.
getting clean is not, you're just taking care of one of your symptoms. You're just treating one of your symptoms.
Right.
You're not really healing what's really wrong with you, or what's really going on with you. Because a lot of us use and drink for different reasons.
Right.
You know, um, when I started out drinking, it was for fun. It was just something to do. It made me feel uh, more mature than what I really was. Um, a lot of my friends were older than me, so it was just something to do, and I was free. When I started drinking, my mom. It was right around the time my mom started fucking up again, so we were allowed to do whatever we wanted.
Okay.
My brother and I. Now, when I first started drinking, I was like 15, and then by the time I was like 16 or 17, it was really heavy. I was drinking all the time. And then by the time I was 18 or 19, I had an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, and it's exciting, when you're a young kid and you're used to structure. And, my mom was always kind of loose with us, but only if we were doing what we were supposed to do. But at that point in
Right.
time, she didn't really give a fuck what we were doing, because she was doing her thing. So she kind of felt like, if she let us drink and let us hang out and play the cool mom, then she felt like we wouldn't look at her. So,
Right.
that's kind of how it started out. And, I had a good time in the beginning, but somewhere along the way, um, I lost
Mm.
control over it. I drank excessively. I drank all the time. I drank to the point where I didn't know what I was doing. I black out. So,
Right.
it just got out of control, and it stayed out of control. And, because of one of my flaws was being a controlling person, I felt like I always wanted to be in control. It took me a long, long time to get sober, because I didn't like the fact that there was something that I couldn't control the outcome of. You know what I mean?
Right.
I spent
Yeah.
forever trying to control it, and it also hurts you, because in the beginning you had control. You could drink until for you knew your limit when you were younger, because you were kind of like nervous about it because it was new to you, so you kind of took time with it, or at least I did. And you don't understand why you can't regain that, why you can't recapture that, and you never will. That's something that addicts and alcoholics need to understand. You'll never recapture that social using phase. It's over. Once it's over, it's over. You're never going to get it back. um and that's just the way it was. But once I got sober, I realized things about myself that I wanted to change, that I didn't like about myself, that I had carried over from being an alcoholic and an asshole, not really caring about, other people or my own self. And it was something that I had to learn, that I had to work on when I got sober. Um, so that's just the way it is. You gotta try to make amends to the people that you hurt in the process. You gotta try to make amends to yourself, because the person you hurt the most is you. It's your life
Yeah.
that you're throwing away. The other people are just casualties of the war that you're going through. They're not,
Right.
you're not directly impacting them. You're directly impacting yourself and your life. You know, you're
Right.
destroying your own life, and everybody else around you is feeling it because they care about you and they want to see you do good and they want to see you be happy. They want to see you have a little bit of pride and respect. Um, and when you start fucking up all the time and you start using drugs and alcohol, everybody starts looking at you different, and a lot of people lose the respect for you that they used to have because of the type
Yeah.
of person you are when you get that way. Um, so yeah, I really liked it. When I read through it, I really liked it. There's a lot in there that you can learn. There's a lot in there that you can benefit from, that the people around you that care about you can benefit from. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's really important to your closest people to share it with them, tell them um, how you feel each chapter. Like, I read this chapter, this is what the chapter was about, and this is how it made me feel, and my thoughts, and you got to have somebody to share it with. um, and make sure you actually act on it. You know what I'm saying? Don't just read and then blow it off. Take
Right.
act on
But
it.
that doesn't help anybody.
Right, exactly. So that's how I feel about it.
I think we should do the steps again.
Okay.
Maybe in September, because September is like recovery awareness month. So maybe we'll do them then.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Um,
I still got my notes too, so I can just use my old notes.
Maybe this time you could send me your stuff beforehand so I could do it my notes.
All right. I'll show you the
I don't.
website. The website's really user
Yeah,
friendly. I'll send it to you.
yeah, yeah. Repetition is key. And I've heard a lot of people say they'll do the 12 steps and then they do them again. Because it's like Shiver said with repetition, that's how we learn. And it's like, say you watch, it's no different than when you watch a movie the first time and then you watch it again. There's things you missed the first go around. You know what I mean? So doing them again is just more of a benefit to you anyway. Um, what else was I gonna say? Hold on. Wait. Um, I was gonna say you made a comment about when you get clean and then you work through the steps. You're not the same person you were before. Um, and that's absolutely for me because even before, when I didn't use drugs, even when I didn't drink, I'm still not that same person. You know what I mean? And I feel like now I like who I am as opposed to before I didn't. And I forget what else I was going to say. My thoughts are all over the place because I'm so irritated about the school. And yeah, Stephanie said, as your life changes, the views change. Yeah, it's true.
I just want to say too, the people that are going to work through the steps, or if they're working through them, or they haven't and they want to get started. Um, when we did it, we breezed through it because we were doing videos on it, so we didn't really we just kind of did I mean, we did a pretty good detailed videos, but I just took shorthand notes off the questions, off the summary. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't actually sit there and read chapter by chapter by chapter. But when you're
Right.
doing it, my advice to you would be to take your time. It's not a race.
Yeah.
If you don't
Yeah,
understand,
because we have like one or two steps per video.
right? If you don't understand something, ask questions. Um, go through it again and again and again until you get it down and you complete it. It's not a race. You're not going to gain anything by hurrying through it. So,
And there's steps. I can't remember all the numbers, but I know like step 4 and step 5 are really big steps. So if you get to steps 4 or 5 and it takes you weeks or months, don't feel bad about it. Don't rush it. Don't just try to get it done to get it done, because at that point you might as well not even do it because you're missing the whole purpose. Shriver, I read the gist for today, but to sum it up, it's about um, reiterating the 12 steps in your daily life to be a productive member of society. So I don't have much else to say.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, self-explanatory. And
Yeah, it was really to the point.
step, if you haven't really gone through the steps, then, um, you're kind of at at a loss as far as that goes. But like I said, to
Yeah.
try to explain it to you shorthand, all 12 steps, it's basically
It's a
just sending
work.
you through get back to life course. That's basically what it is to me, in my opinion. If I could, summarize it, um, it talks about, in the beginning, it goes through the beginning phase of getting clean and getting sober. It talks about, are you carrying over a lot of those character defects from your past life or from the way you were when you were drinking or you were using. It talks about, making amends and writing them out. That's basically what it's about. And to me, if I could give anybody, you know, a piece of advice, it would be, basically let your actions speak more than your words. Um, don't get in a big hurry. Don't even worry about anybody else around you until you get
Mhm.
yourself together. Don't get in a big hurry saying sorries and all that jazz if you're not even comfortable in what you're doing right now. Let your actions speak. Take some time to work on yourself because um, it's all about you. It's a personal journey. It's not anyone else's. So go through that
Right.
journey. Um,
And no one can do the journey for you. You have to do it yourself. We were just talking about this the other day. We can tell you what to do, we can show you where to go, we can lay out the map for you, but we can lead the horse to water, we can't make them drink. So
and that's basically why the 12 steps are in place. In my opinion, I think they're there because everybody seems to struggle after they get clean and sober. It's like everybody gets clean and sober and it's like the big ball drops and they're like, all right, now what? Um,
right.
now what do
And
I do?
so many people, like people on the outside that don't know, like your friends and your family, they don't realize that you have all this other work to do. They just think that like once you stop using, you're healed, and that's not the case. um you have to do the 12 steps. Someone I met the other day, she said that she had gotten clean and she was doing well, she was going to meetings, and then she stopped going to meetings. And I asked her, I said, did you have a sponsor, did you work the 12 steps? She didn't do any of that. Well, that's why you went back out. You didn't have a foundation. You didn't have a program set up. Just going to meetings and just staying clean isn't going to keep you clean forever, because life happens outside of those meetings. You can't revolve your life around meetings day in and day out. Part of doing the 12 steps is what helps you stay clean. So when you can't get into a meeting or you can't call on somebody, okay, this is what I learned doing the 12 steps. This is how I get through this moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Living well is the best amends. Once they see you're doing better, doors start opening. And I feel like, it's hard for us when we first come into recovery. That's like the first thing we want to do. We feel like we have to make things right with everybody. And making things right with everybody is a process. I have people that say to me, "Oh, I've been clean 6 months. My family still doesn't want anything to do with me." Well, they will. Give them time. They're still afraid. They're still worried. They're still scared that you're going to go back out. How many times did you get a month or 2 months or 6 weeks or 6 months clean and you went right back out? You can't be mad at them because they're not ready to forgive you and they're not ready to trust you. Don't focus on that. Focus on yourself, focus on your steps, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, the biggest thing to me is um,
Yes, I love that. Sorry.
the biggest thing to me is you need to get into it for yourself. If not, you're setting yourself up for a failure. Um, I made that mistake myself. Um, I was getting real close to 2 years, and you know I didn't keep going because I didn't do it for myself when I got into it. I started because um, the pressures of fatherhood came up on me, and I was like, this is something I can't have in my life if I'm going to be a father. And I did really good off that for a long time, but when my daughter wasn't around, I had nobody to lean on. So make sure when you get into this that you get into it for you and not for anybody else. Um, and and don't that's the thing too. Like don't do it to try to prove anything to
Right.
anybody but you. You know what I'm saying? Do it for you. Don't do it. I tell my mom that all the time. Of course, I didn't use the same advice I gave her, but
Right.
tell her that shit all the time. I'm like, when you go to rehab or you go to a recovery house or you try to get clean, you're doing it for you, or you might as well not do it at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because your life counts, your life matters, your life has value. And as we go through addiction, whether it's dope or whatever, alcohol, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's something that negatively impacts your life, you're selling yourself short by doing that.
Right.
And you need to have that, reality. You need to have that time of reality where you realize, like, this isn't serving my life in a positive way, and this is something that I could do without, that I need to do without, that I need to just
Right.
get out of my life. It's the same with anything in life. Toxic people, anything that concerns your health. Um, this is the only life you're guaranteed, so you need to make the most out of it. And for some reason, along the lines of society, we feel like making the most of it is just an everyday fuck it motto, just do whatever. But what happens when tomorrow comes? Tomorrow might not come, but if it does, it's only 24 hours away, and it will be here. So just make sure that if you want to live by the motto, live every day like it's my last. Well, really live every day like it's your last, meaning enjoy it. Enjoy it the way it is. Life is good enough as it is. You don't have to keep adding shit to it.
Yeah.
And you don't have to keep putting drugs in your system and alcohol in your system to change who you are, because that's not who you are. That's not you.
Right.
If you
Super
have a
sad.
problem, if you have a problem with it and you overuse and you abuse it, it's not for you. There are people who can drink occasionally, who can, be responsible, but we're not those type of people.
Mm-mm.
So
I really like what Pam said. Pam says, I spent a lifetime in hell. It only took me 12 steps to get to heaven. That was really nice. Brandy said I had to change my people, places, and things. And I forget who told us the one time, remember she said she had to change her playground. I really like that. Yeah, Ren
yeah,
says, remember, family can be most toxic in some situations. I saw somebody post the other day, because of it being the holiday. We all feel obligated during the holiday season that we have to go visit our family. If your family and your friends and the ones you go visit are so toxic that they make you question yourself, they make you question your recovery, they give you urges to want to go and use, you don't have to go around them. There's something else I want to say too, because there was a young lady who was looking for advice. She had went to a meeting, and I made a status about it. A lot of people commented on. And there was a young girl who commented last night and said, she takes her, I can't remember, she said 1 or 2 year old, but she takes her child with her to the meetings. She said, and I'm always worried that it's going to distract someone else from their recovery. And I commented back to her and I said, you're not responsible for anybody's recovery but your own, you know? So if you have children and you need to go to meetings, please feel free to take those babies to the meetings. If people don't like it, they'll get over it.
yeah, your coach is spot on, because it's 50-50.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it, 50% chance you will wake up tomorrow, 50% chance you won't. And if you did your health and your age and all that, the numbers would change even more. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, a lot of us die young and a lot of us live for a long time. But think about how many of us that die young because of our lifestyle, because of the way we live, because of the things we do. So then the
Right.
numbers go up even more, the odds of you waking up tomorrow. And think about it, just think about it like that. You don't want to be the 50, 60-year-old person or individual who did the same shit their entire life and just abused their body, abused their well-being, abused their mental state, abused everybody around them. All for what? You know
Right.
what I'm saying? All for what?
And don't wait to get clean. Don't do the whole oh, I'll get clean next month, or I'll get clean when my circumstances are better, or when I can get to the doctor for a maintenance program. Don't wait, because waiting is only going to kill you. The way that things are nowadays, you don't know if your next high is going to be your last breath. So don't wait. Don't make excuses. Just go do it. It's that easy.
Yeah, and for a lot of us, we got to change the people that we deal with. I mean, I know it's cliche, but um, you're never gonna
True.
you're never gonna get clean if you keep fucking with the same people that you're fucking up with. Um,
Right.
they could be your best friend, but like I said, your life is important. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't burden everybody else because you can't wear the burdens of everybody else because you feel like you're not being a good friend. You got to get your shit together. You can't help that person either being fucked up all the time. You're no good to
Right.
them anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and the young lady that I spoke to the other day, she said that was one of her problems is that her best friend that she's known basically her whole life is still in active addiction. And I said, you've got to cut her off. Like, it's going to hurt. It's probably going to be one of the most painful things you've ever done in your life, but she's not going to help you get clean and she's damn sure not going to keep you clean. You know what I mean? All she's going to want to do is drag you back down into where she's at. Um, you got to let those people go. I mean, and she said, I really wish I could talk her into recovery. And it's like, you can try, but you need to get yourself together before you worry about trying to help others and fix other people.
and if you really love somebody, being stuck under their ass doesn't mean you love them anymore, and being away from them doesn't mean you love them any less. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can still
Yeah.
love somebody from a distance, and it could be more beneficial for you and that person. Because let's say you got a right hand person or somebody you're always with, and now they're lonely. You know what I'm saying? Now they're left by themselves. Maybe that will encourage them to get clean, or they'll see how good you're doing, and it will inspire them to get clean. If they look at like I was fucking up with this person every day, and if they can do it, I know I can.
Right.
Be that person to break the cycle and show it, show them that
Mm-hmm.
look, I can do it, so can you. Um, so it's just
Well, that was what I said to her. More so, lead by example. Get your life together. She'll see you doing well, and she'll make a decision whether she wants to live in the same house she's in, or maybe by seeing the fact that you got clean, it will inspire her to get her own self together. You never know how you're going to impact people. So,
and for me, it's like for me, it wasn't the case. Like my friends weren't the problem, and I had to figure it out that I was the problem because my friends were trying to, my friends have been telling me forever that, man, you're fucking up, but I just didn't. I didn't see it for myself. It took a long time for me to figure it out. Um, but for a lot of us, that is the case. For a lot of us, our friends, you know, do drag us down. Just because it wasn't my experience doesn't mean that it's not yours. And
right.
I know the drug scene is different than the drinking scene. So I feel like with the drug scene, it's more common for, you know, for that to be for that to be true, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because
Well,
if you
not even necessarily drag you down, but I mean, if all your friends are getting high together, I mean, it's like the girl said, I could say no the first two or three times, but you get tired of saying no. So the only thing that you can really do to benefit yourself is to pull yourself out of the situation.
right. Yeah, I mean, most of my friends weren't alcoholics. They were just social drinkers, and I was the one that developed the issue. I was the problem, not them, So,
Yeah.
but I just couldn't, I just had to give myself some time to get myself together before I was well enough to come back. And if that happens to be in front of me, I'll be all right. I can look the other way, you know,
Right.
and I'm to that point,
Yeah.
Um, I hung out with my friend before I left Maryland, and he was drinking, and it didn't bother me at all. It's like there was a point in time in my life where I couldn't do that. I couldn't even be around it because I
Right.
would give in every time. I would, and I can't expect my friends to alter their lives because I have an issue. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Right.
and it was fine for me. It's not like it even bothered me. I didn't think twice about it when I left. I didn't think twice about it while I was there. And I stayed for a while. We played cards, just like everything. We did all the same shit. And I finally realized like we had the same amount of fun. We did all the
Mhm.
same shit we did before, but I didn't have to be the clown at the end of the night. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Or the scary person or the fucking asshole at the end of the night. I didn't have to turn into
Mhm.
that guy, you know?
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so
Trevor said it takes a while for us to be willing to see us. There was a girl last night. Matter of fact, I don't know if you ever responded to her, Joe, in your group. I tagged you in your fitness group. But she was saying, she wasn't noticing any results from working out. And, that her husband had said, made some comments that he had noticed. And my comment to her was, we don't see the difference that other people see. When we look at ourselves, one, I feel like we are the most critical people, when it comes to ourselves. Like everybody in general, you're always more critical of yourself than you are of others. Um, and then Travis said, seeing ourselves means we may need to change something we're not ready to change. Or we're just plain afraid of change. I mean, that was a big thing for me. I don't like change at all. I still don't like change. Um, it's hard for me to deal with. I mean, I've gotten better, but what do you do?
What situation? Like being around my friend if he's drinking or somebody that's drinking? I don't do anything. I just enjoy them the way they are. But like I said, it's not something that I suggest to anybody because it's not something that I was capable of doing before. It's something that's new, that just this like
Well,
past
this
year
isn't
or so.
something you do all the time either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't go hang out in a fucking bar or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't put myself that far out there. But if I show up to somebody's house at random and they're drinking a beer or they're drinking, I'm not gonna fucking get my car and leave. Um,
Right.
I have to be stronger than that because there's a liquor store at every fucking corner. So
Right.
I mean, if I can't function, if I can't handle it around my friends, somebody that I trust, then how can I handle it driving past 20 liquor stores on my way home?
Right. Well, and I think it's different. I don't know if Dorley is a recovering addict or a recovering alcoholic. But it's to me, I think it's a little different. Like I could be around people that drink, it doesn't bother me at all. Like it doesn't make me want to drink. It doesn't give me any urges to use or anything like that. Um, and I probably would be able to handle myself. Like if someone was openly around me doing drugs, at this point in my life, I'm not around those people. You know what I mean? Those people that are doing that aren't the people that I surround myself with anymore. Um, but I certainly wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't put myself in that position.
Yeah, I mean, I never really used drugs or had a problem with drugs or never had any desire to really fuck with drugs. So,
Yeah,
being around drugs doesn't bother me, but it's a dark scene and it does make
yeah,
me feel fucked up inside because I had so many people that I knew, my mother being one of them that went through it, and I just don't want to be around that shit. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be around people using drugs regardless, and I don't really have any friends that use drugs, that I know of that I associate with or go see. So most of my friends were just drinkers, you know. So
mhm,
I don't really. I'm sure that's different. I wouldn't. If you're a heroin addict, I damn sure wouldn't tell you to go see your friend when he's shooting dope, or if you know he's shooting dope. That's
right.
just not even an option to me. I wouldn't recommend it. And I wouldn't recommend somebody recovering from alcohol in the beginning phases to go around your friends when they drink either. You gotta let them know, like, hey, it's nothing personal. I still love you. You're still my boy. You're still my friend. Whatever the case, but I just can't be around you for a little while until I get my feet up under me. You know what I'm saying?
And if you friend, they'll respect that. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't be an issue. I wouldn't worry about. I so I watch. Most people know that I watch Grey's Anatomy, but they did a show a couple weeks ago, where one of the characters went to her sister's house, and she was a recovering alcoholic and addict, and her sister brought out wine, and her sister was like, oh no 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 no, put it, her other sister was like, no no no, put it away, and she was like, it doesn't bother me. But I want to say to people, it shouldn't bother your friends or family if you ask them if drinking is your problem and you say, hey, I'm trying to get my life together. I would prefer that when I'm around you don't drink. It shouldn't be an issue, and if they have an issue with it, then that to me says something about your relationship. You know what I mean? Jennifer says, Jennifer's on day 13. Keep going, Jen. Um, I would too avoid your friends. When I got clean, I left the area that I lived in. I went to a treatment center about 45 minutes from my house, and then I went to a recovery house that was actually 2.5 hours away from my house. And I was gone for 2 years before I came back to where I lived because I knew I couldn't be around it. I couldn't even be like it. I don't get this way anymore, but I used to literally get anxious when I would come to town because I would get like that just nervousness. Like, who am I going to see? What's going to be offered to me? You know, all that kind of stuff. I don't have that problem anymore, but in the beginning I did. And so I knew I couldn't be here full time. Yeah, that's the problem. You know, we're addicts, we're human. We can only say no so many times. So keep yourself away from it. You won't have to fight the urge. You won't have to continue to say no. You can just be without.
Yeah, and I would, like I said, nobody's the same person. I wouldn't put yourself in harm's way, and I'm not telling anybody to put themselves in harm's way. Um, I'm just saying, it's like I just, I don't know. It's like I got, you know, we come to a point where, it's like you see some of the older people. Some people can handle it, some people can't. So I mean, but I wouldn't risk it.
Right.
And like I said, for the drug scene, I definitely wouldn't suggest you to put yourself in that scene at all. Uh,
Mm-mm.
you're
Don't go
not
to the houses or the abandoned buildings. Stay away from all of it.
you're not gonna get anything out of it. If you know your friend's doing that, like I said, just try to be an influence for your friend instead of coming around your friend and letting your friend influence you.
Hmm.
Because one of y'all are gonna give in at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And your friend might end up losing their lives over it, and you don't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? You don't. That could be you too.
Yep.
It's not something you want to play around with, regardless. And who wants to watch their friend do that shit anyway? You know what I mean?
Right.
If you know your friend's using, I mean, you should know your friend better than anybody. If you know your friend's using drugs, then you can talk to that person maybe, but I wouldn't go around them.
Right. And
Try to
if
be.
you're early, I wouldn't necessarily talk to them either, because
And it's like I
if
said,
you're,
you're no good to that friend if you fuck up and you cave in. You know what I'm saying? Because you're just reinforcing them that this is something that is unobtainable. Being clean is unattainable for long term. You know, show them that it is possible long term.
yeah. Well, I think that about wraps up today. Are we going to try and go live on Friday?
Yeah. Tomorrow we have another appointment, so tomorrow's probably a no go. But Friday should work. I don't think I'm doing anything Friday except working out.
Okay. What time is your appointment tomorrow?
Like 10:30, and it's an hour drive up, an hour drive back. Then I gotta come to the gym if I don't get up early enough to go beforehand. So I'll be done
Okay.
by that time. I'll be ready to just not do anything.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see you guys Friday. My sister-in-law dropped the link to our Breaking the Chains community support group. Feel free to join. Also, just a couple things for those who haven't heard me talk about it before. We're getting ready for our next event, which is Breaking the Chains. It's going to be in August on the 3rd at the Chestertown Fire Hall in Maryland. If anybody's local, all the information for it is inside of our group also. We have a Breaking the Chains Facebook page. We have March in Recovery Facebook page. You're going to add us on Facebook. However you want to reach us is fine. If you guys have any suggestions or topics you want us to discuss, feel free to comment or message them to us. The only ones we're not going to discuss, shameless plug, okay. The only ones we're not going to discuss is we're not going to discuss the methadone and the Suboxone programs because we've already done that enough. So everything else you can send to us and we'll talk about.
Yeah, it just turns into
Anything?
an argument because people just can't handle opposite opinions, I guess.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to share your views, and you got to learn how to. That's another part of just regular life. You have to learn that
Right.
I can be you know I can be okay with somebody just because we don't think the same, or we don't look at life the same, or we don't have the same opinions. We all
Right.
have different reasons for why we feel a certain kind of way, but it seems like in society we're so quick to just get angry with someone if they don't view something the way we do without actually trying to understand why they think that way.
Right. All
Understanding
right,
is
guys.
like one of the big things, being
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah. One of the hardest ones too.
but we'll just avoid it in general. Like I said, if you're curious about what we think about it, you can probably go dig it up in one of our old videos, but it's not something
Yeah,
that I care to talk about again.
it's not our recommendation, so we don't need to say any more about it. But we're not condoning anybody that's on the programs. I don't want you to feel like if you're on that program, like you can't listen to us, or we're not going to be negative towards you. It's just not. It's a hot subject, so we don't feel the need to talk about it.
Yeah, and the whole point of this is to build a community that supports each other. So if there's a
Yeah,
topic that creates divide, we'll just not touch it.
right. So, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to join our support group. I will comment the links to the business pages if you guys want to join them. Again, you can send us friend requests. If you feel like you need somebody to talk to, feel free to message us. We'll get back to you as soon as you can, as soon as we can. I think that's it for today, guys.
All right, y'all.
See ya.